and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about aespa's Episode 2 Next Level, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the video, its connections to the SMCU, and what it can tell us about aespa's unfolding metaverse. Now, Episode 2 Next Level begins right where we left off in Episode 1. Its main events focus on aespa's attempt at defeating the Black Mamba, their adventure into Kwangya, and the hallucination quest that was portrayed back in Savage. As it turns out, however, the video was also able to clarify a lot of questions that up until now were left unanswered. If you guys need to catch up with aespa's lore in Episode 1, I highly recommend you go watch these videos first, but in case you're all caught up, let's dive right in and see what's going on. Now at the beginning, the video opens with a cinematic intro of an orchestra playing a rendition of Black Mamba. As they do so, we immediately notice that one of the musicians is not a human but an eye. Right off the bat, this is a visual that reminds us of the close connection that the people in this reality have with their avatars. As we already established in the past, the eyes are sentient entities who are created out of the information that people upload on social media, and in the story they were able to cross over into our world and connect with their human counterpart. This is a process that is called sync, and when this happens, the eye becomes the eye of the human that created them. This is a very deep connection that makes the human and the eye bond with each other, but at the beginning we see that a strange phenomenon is causing this connection to interrupt and the eyes to disappear as a result. Now in the video we see that initially people don't really know the cause of this event, but we as the audience do, because in Episode 1 we saw that the evil entity that hacked the system was none other than Black Mamba. The first signs that this is the virus to blame for the sync out can already be found here and there, but at this point the characters don't know just yet, so when we reunite with aespa, the girls are worried and confused as well. As they monitor the news, Karina is suddenly able to make contact with Karina, and soon enough the other eyes are able to reunite with their humans. Even if the sync out is still in place, the four eyes were able to temporarily reconnect thanks to Navis' power, and because of her, aespa can finally understand what is going on. According to Navis, something originating from Kwangya is disrupting the connection between the real world and the flat, which is where all the eyes actually live. As we already know, Kwangya is a limitless wilderness beyond the flat that is not ruled by any law of form. This is a realm that contains infinite data and energy, and due to its unpredictable nature, it's very difficult to identify what is actually disrupting the sync. When they heard this information, Ning, Winter and Giselle offer to go to Kwangya and solve the sync out, but Karina points out that even if the eyes can go, aespa the humans actually cannot. As we soon find out, however, this is not entirely the case, because Navis is here to fix the issue. When she tells Karina to close her eyes, Navis is able to upload Karina's consciousness into the flat. Even if Karina's physical body is still in the real world, her mind is now connected to Karina, so the two of them not only share a regular connection, but a psychological one at that. This is a process called sync dive, and as Navis explained, accomplishing this type of bond is not always possible. When Karina is in the flat, Karina almost serves as a vessel for her consciousness, so when aespa are in the virtual reality, they basically become one with their eyes. When the eyes welcome her in the flat, Winter and Ning remind us of their abilities. According to Energy, Winter is an armamenter and Ning is an ideator, so fittingly enough, Winter shows her skills with weapons while Ning her abilities with computer graphics. After she gives Navis a makeover, Navis helps the other three members accomplishing the sync dive, and as they do so, we see that in reality human aespa are sleeping. Since their consciousness has been uploaded in the flat, it makes sense that in reality the girls are unconscious, but if you think about it, these visuals might actually explain why in Dreams Come True, aespa were able to spend time in the virtual world while seemingly being themselves. Since in the story their consciousness travels even if their bodies stay put, aespa's dreams are literally true, in the sense that what they experience in their mind is real, even if it's taking place not in reality but in a completely different world. This is something that we should also keep in mind when it comes to the SMCU as a whole, because as it turns out, we actually saw it taking place once before. In the 2021 rendition of Kangta's Free to Fly, for instance, we saw that both Winter and Sung Chang from NCT went to Kwangya in two completely different ways. place. Back then, Winter found an access point to Kwangya and was able to travel there with a Port of Soul, which is the same medium that allowed the eyes to first reach our reality. Sun-chan, however, didn't use a POS because in the video he was already asleep and he just appeared into Kwangya while he was unconscious. Now, on a general level, this also fits with NCT's concept because even if they don't really have a full storyline per se, conceptually speaking, all units and members are connected together through the ether. This is a limitless void that connects dimension to dimension, people to people, as well as emotion to emotion, so it's like a collective unconscious that connects everything to everything else. By the looks of it, the SMCU is literally taking this concept to the next level, because episode 2 is introducing us to the idea that a person's consciousness can be uploaded in the virtual reality and technically exist without a physical body. Up until now we don't know the full implications of this possibility, but keep in mind that in next level the lyrics told us that from suffering and pain arises a new evo. The sync dive might literally be the first step towards a new type of evolution, and this is an evolution that is ultimately led by Navis. Like in the song she leads and aespa follow, in episode 2 Navis creates a butterfly that will lead aespa as they follow it into Kwangya. Now if you remember, the butterfly is the same animal that Navis transformed into back in Savage, and the reason behind this choice might actually be a pun with Navis's name. In Korean, the word for butterfly is navi, so fittingly enough she creates a butterfly for the girls to follow into their adventure. As we see in the video, Navis cannot leave the flat, so she left to help the girls from far away. Before sending them off, however, Navis also gives them a series of rules to follow, and these are the very same ones that were foreshadowed in the next level lyrics. In order to succeed, aespa cannot covet what belongs to Kwangya and should never look back, and if they break this promise, everything will become out of control. As they set off to the next level of their journey, the butterfly leads them through a Port of Soul and into Kwangya, which is a location where everything keeps on changing and it's very easy to get lost. Even if the girls follow the butterfly diligently, we see that at one point the signal starts to become weaker, and this is the same event that was foreshadowed in the song. In the video, we see that in order to boost the signal, Karina and Winter use their respective powers to destroy the block threatening their mission. Winter uses her skill as armamenter, while Karina is a rocket puncher. As the lyrics told us, unity is their weapon, so the two girls work together in order to destroy the block and re-establish the signal. While Ning Ning uses her EDAker skills to fill Kwangya with art, their powerful unity is once again proven when Giselle actually saves her from a giant teddy bear. This allows them to successfully continue their exploration, and as we see in the video, this adventure eventually leads them to the Kwangya station, where they end up boarding the SMCU Express. This is the same train at the core of the concept of the SM cultural universe, and during the family concert we saw each group boarding this express in order to get introduced into the metaverse. Most importantly, however, this is also the same train that was front and center in Black Mamba, and this is because the event that took place in that video is the same one that we see in this section of the episode. You see, in both cases, aespa boarding the Kwangya Express overlaps with their first direct encounter with the Black Mamba. We see that the location is the same. In both instances, the Black Mamba is in the shape of a giant snake, and the black goo starts spreading all over the train like the virus that it is. The scariest detail of this attack, however, is by far what happens to the girls themselves, because when the camera cuts to Karina's face, we see her eyes turning black like it happened back in Black Mamba. As the video continues, we see that the same also happens to Giselle, Ning Ning and Winter, and these visuals overlap with them having horrible visions caused by their encounter with the monster. Now this is a major event in the story so far, because not only it was heavily featured in Savage, but it was also hinted at both in Black Mamba and Next Level. What is taking place here is something called the Hallucination Quest, which is an illusion created by the Black Mamba in order to destroy aespa and their deep connection with their eyes. Back in Black Mamba, the video only focused on Karina's hallucination quest, so we saw her being ensnared by the creature and being corrupted by its venom. In Next Level, on the other hand, Karina was once again the main focus of that portrayal of the illusion, but in the lyrics they hinted at the fact that all of them were being attacked at the very same time. According to the song, the hallucination quest is created by the Black Mamba with the purpose of separating aespa from their eyes. In the illusion created by the quest, the girls are alienated and criticized, and as they endure this struggle by themselves, aespa lose their voice and their balance. In Savage, we see the hallucination quest at the center of the concept, and in the video each individual scene portrayed the girls' respective quest and sorrow. As seen in the MV, the girls were trapped behind a glass and subjected to scary visions and alienating illusions, all of which can actually be compared to the things that idols, and even normal people to an extent, have to endure on social media. As we see with Karina holding a copy of The Wizard of Oz, aespa not in Kansas anymore. Like Dorothy, they ended up in a strange reality where the dreams that they're dreaming really came true, but because of that, they aren't in control of what is going on. Like the Land of Oz, Kwangya is a place that, as magical as it is, can also be dangerous, because like the Wicked Witch of the West, the Black Mamba is out to get them. In the story, the illusions that aespa have to overcome are scary because they are realistic. They portray some of the most negative aspects of the industry and they show a darker side that everybody likes to ignore. In Winter's case, for instance, we see that their hallucination revolves around malicious rumors spread by anonymous people, which, as we know, is a common occurrence in the industry. If in Savage these entities were shadows, here they're faceless individuals that whisper in the darkness and spread false information. They say that Winter is rude, that she shouldn't be there, and even if she can hear them, she's powerless and cannot stop them. With Giselle instead, we see that their hallucination revolves around media attention and deep faking. Even if Giselle is literally put on a pedestal here, she's photographed from every single angle and she can never catch a break. Photo after photo, the people surrounding her starts to look like her, and the more she tries to break free, the more the system forces her into a mold. This is a very multi-layered critique because it can actually be interpreted in different ways. It can be about unwanted attention and harassment, calling out people that deepfake idols' images in order to humiliate them, but it can also be a critique on an industry that puts people on a pedestal only to force them to conform to a very strict standard. Next up instead we have Ning Ning, and her hallucination revolves around malicious comments and online hate. As we see in the video, Ning Ning initially interacts with positive emojis, meaning that online comments can often be a source of comfort and happiness. The video itself acknowledges the positive power of nice comments, but just like people can send you love, they can send you hate just as fast. Oftentimes, the comment section can turn from positive to negative in a second, and in The Illusion we see happening exactly that. These hate comments are like blades that make Ning Ning bleed, and the trolls and bots that leave these comments enjoy the misery that they inflict. Last but not least, however, we finally get to Karina. Now, at the beginning, for instance, we see that part of her illusion revolves around the huge pressure that people surrounding her put on her shoulders. This is a type of pressure that can come from the public, from the industry, but even from the idol's life. Karina has to be mature, she has to be trustworthy, she cannot disappoint the people around her, and right off the bat, that's a lot of pressure for such a young girl. She has to be perfect all the time, she has to be everybody's Karina, and even if she succeeds, there is always the fear to be replaced at any given time. In the video, this fear is obviously represented by Karina, who in the scene is actually the Black Mamba in disguise. In their confrontation, Karina presents herself as the perfect version of Karina that she always wanted to become. Since the eyes are created out of all the information that people upload on social media, they're the perfected version of ourselves because people tend to show off their qualities and hide their flaws. The problem here is that the eyes are sentient creatures. They exist independently from their original version, so the Black Mamba is essentially enacting a scenario where Karina is turning on her creator and planning on taking her place. The eye tells Karina that it's a matter of time before people start preferring her, because the original Karina is a human being and sooner or later she will change and grow old. Her beauty will fade, she might get sick, but Karina will always be forever young, forever beautiful, and forever perfect. Since the goal of the Black Mamba is to separate people from their eyes, the entity is voicing Karina's fear to be replaced by a better version of herself that even she cannot compete with. Another interesting detail to point out, moreover, is that in all the hallucination quests, the illusions actually get worse the moment the girls start listening to the hate. The moment they turn around and give attention to those horrible words, the visions become more powerful and attack them, and the reason why this might be is because aespa actually broke one of the rules that Navis gave them. Before leaving, Navis told them not to envy what belongs to Kwangya and not to look back, but in the quest all of them do, because they all turn around and get attacked as a result. fault. In Karina's case, the Black Mamba is almost about to succeed, because when the creature gives her the choice to delete Karina, Karina is about to press yes. Luckily enough, Navis' butterfly comes through to help Karina snap out of it, because thanks to her arrival, Karina sees the black goo surrounding her avatar and finally understands that it's the Black Mamba in disguise. Using a rocket punch, Karina breaks the glass and she and the others escape the hallucination quest. Just because they won the battle, however, doesn't mean that they won the war, because the girls are still on the Kwangya Express and the Black Mamba is still in full control of the train. If we consider what happened in Savage, episode 3 will probably portray aespa and the Black Mamba's final showdown, but back in that video, Navis paid the highest price to save the girls, and I think that that part of the story will unfold in episode 3 as well. In the post-credit scene, Navis senses that the girls are in danger, and then we see her hand slowly turning black. This might actually be a clue that Navis is infected by the Black Mamba, because the Black Mamba hacked the system that Navis actually represents. To know how the story will unfold, we'll have to wait and see, but in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!